Sifting through the history of crowdfunding failures, flops, scams, and the rare success, you'll eventually come to Under the Dog. Conceived in the mid-90s, Ishii Jiro finally got his project underway through Kickstarter, not wanting it done traditionally due to desire to retain creative control. This also led to a schism after Under the Dog was funded, with Kinema Citrus completing it after splitting from Creative Intelligent Arts. It's since been released into a flaccid reception. If you want some of your gripes vindicated or perhaps want a little bit more sense made of the story, then hopefully this video will help. Under the Dog was constructed to crush hopes, but it's not doing so in the way it intended. After a terrorist attack, Japan is in disarray. American troops invading a school that can double as a shelter is taken in stride by the students, and those in the main cast are called underdogs. There also exist people called Flowers who have access to varying abilities, but using them too much risks turning into a monster called Pandora. Togetsu Hana, Underdog Agent 06, is transferred to the school in order to find Nanase Shunichi, who might be the last hope for humanity. However, at the same time, the US is attacking the school to destroy the escaped subject Pandora, Shunichi's lost father, forcing Hana and her allies into conflict with the soldiers. Right from the beginning, we are greeted with the emotional weight the series is trying to evoke. Her parents treat Hana's transfer to a new school like she's being sent to her death thanks to her mission. It's a world where invasion can happen at any second, and hearing sniper fire on the rooftops doesn't turn heads, yet people still walk around and carry on with their jobs like nothing is weird. From the get-go, however, I don't really enjoy the aesthetic here at all. The character designs just bug the hell out of me. The faces and expressions just look derpy half the time. It's like they couldn't decide between something realistic and something anime and compromise on an ugly middle ground. The scenery is grey and bland, but it's still too damn clean for a setting that feels like it's trying to be gritty. Pandora is the most out of place here, and it just looks so goofy. The googly eyes, the ridiculous uneven body structure, the random shit just jutting out. I can't tell if it's trying to be horrifying or imposing, but it fails on both counts. It's a clear mark of Under the Dog's attempts to be dour and bleak, coming off as obnoxious at worst and unintentionally funny at best. For instance, Flowers. The term is used to describe superpowered people who turn into monsters, and there's obviously a disconnect between the light word and the grim result. Now, I appreciate that they got English-speaking voice actors for the American soldiers, but English words don't sound nearly as cool or mysterious as intended when they're actually said in their native language.
We've got flowers!
Flowers?
The English script in general is just mediocre.
Are all students accounted for?
No, sir. 2 are unaccounted for.
What the
If that wasn't bad enough, as an antagonistic force, they're completely ineffectual. Even though they know about Flowers, they're incapable of actually dealing with them. Hana has no trouble running right at them and taking minimal damage. They try to kill Pandora, but he transforms anyway, and in the end they accomplish nothing. If they turn out to be the antagonists of the full series, there's going to be no tension at all. They hit Hana with bombardments, convoys, and some bullets before they're wiped out in an instant by Anthea's assault. They didn't even get to kill Hana, and her death is pathetic. Anthea's display says she's designated for disposal like trash before she's killed. What makes it worse is that while the soldiers failed to finish off Pandora, when Anthea kills Hana, likely for the same purpose, it sticks this time for some reason. That's not even the only time the OVA contradicts itself. Pandora was in captivity for years, but the soldiers only came to notice Shunichi during this incident because his father was trying to find him. Hana gets Shunichi to come with her by claiming he'll be killed if he doesn't, but the soldiers clearly want him alive. Though both sides use way too many explosions if that's what they're concerned about. What gets me though is that the underdogs were said to have been trying to get to Shunichi for years with no success until now, yet no one on the opposite side noticed that Shunichi might be important until the current incident. Why was Underdog being stopped then? Why wasn't Shunichi taken by either side years ago? The only one who succeeds in getting Shunichi is Pandora, and I really have to break down just how awfully this was directed. Shunichi is loaded onto a helicopter which takes off as Pandora comes to the roof. He leaps to one of them and is seen tearing into some random soldiers before it's sent to crash. Wait, hold on a second, look who it is! We can only tell Pandora grabbed Shunichi during this part retroactively because of the shot of his derpy-looking face afterwards, but if you missed it, then I don't blame you. Between this shot and Pandora coming out onto the roof before, there are about 20 frames of Shunichi in the helicopter covered up by the soldiers, and 2 after that with Pandora dropping down. That's less than a second Shunichi is visible. There is no reason it should be unclear what Pandora is doing here, yet the result is practically incomprehensible. If only the mediocre direction was limited to that, but I have to share the moment that crushed my spirit so badly I almost stopped watching. After Hana disables Pandora with an explosion,
Delicious!
We are given one of the worst transitions I've ever seen. I really don't know what it's trying to accomplish. There's no continuity in tone making it jarring, but it being jarring doesn't add anything. The previous shot isn't grim enough to add a layer of contrast or irony next to what is probably the lightest scene in the OVA. I guess the scene gives Estella some more personality or something. Still more than Anthea gets. When she swoops in, her aircraft makes eagle cries announcing her presence. In something less serious, it might have been cool, but instead I just ask how inefficient it is. What's the benefit to making an even louder entrance as a secret rebel agent? And if you were doubting that Ishii Jiro leans his affections towards his created waifu, when pinned down by Pandora she goes Super Saiyan and shakes him off. I don't understand why these guys are called underdogs at any point. If Under the Dog's effort to inspire bleakness and despair accomplishes its goal, it has to be for the crowd who spent money to see this made. Honestly, I want to feel bad, but this is just so common when it comes to crowdfunding. There might be more Under the Dog in the future, but I don't think there are enough interesting ideas to explore here. Flower Power is a psychic do-anything button. Anthea and Pandora are the most similar. Both have shockwaves, precognition, and ripply green eyes. Hana, however, seems to have a different power set entirely despite having the same color eyes, and who knows if anyone else has powers at all. We'd probably get an episode each focusing on all the numbered agents we haven't seen much of. Maybe Anthea will get a personality, or the conflict will be expanded on in a meaningful way. Oh, who am I kidding? We're barely past the prologue and there's already a few nasty tangles in the story. It's going to get worse, not better. The action is just lame firefights or shockwaves and burst effects. The animation is decent, but it's wasted on sloppy direction and a bland aesthetic. Any ending the series gets will probably be just as hopeless as the start. With a tagline like, "Our enemy is the light of humanity," what else would you expect but humanity's only hope being killed before the story even begins? But in trying to be grim, it forgot that in order for darkness and despair to feel choking, they need a genuine hope to strangle. Wow, that was grim. Eesh. The franchise is that Under the Dog openly takes inspiration from our dark, but they still have points of light or characters who seem to care about what they're doing. Hana or Shinichi might have been this, but now they're dead, and without anyone in universe to care about the world, it's nothing the audience could care about either. Creative control is something I value, but I think in this case maybe Ishii Jiro should have let this one go.